So today is Qingming Festival. Qingming is not a Buddhist holiday, but it's a traditional day in Chinese culture once a year in April, where people gather together with their families and they celebrate their ancestral lineage. They celebrate by going to the cemeteries or where they have their urns and they sweep. It's called tomb sweeping. So you actually take care of whatever uh, you have that helps you to remember your ancestors. And this has been legislated by the emperors who built the majestic imperial tombstones for every dynasty. That's how it began. And the young and old alike, they kneel to offer prayers before the tombstones of their ancestors, and they're offering burning of incense and sometimes silver leaf paper, and they sweep the tombs and they offer food or money in memory of their ancestors. And this actually, people may not be aware, but it commemorates an event that happened in 655 BCE, a long time ago, where there was this very loyal uh, fellow. His name was Jie Zitui, who who loyally followed his master into exile, and supposedly he even once cut off a slice of his thigh in order to provide his master with soup. There's some other stories in Buddhism where a person will do something along this line as an act of sacrifice. Jia retired to the forest after his master died, and with his elderly mother, and the new duke uh, ordered his men to set fire to the forest in order to force Jia out of the forest. But they were burned instead. And the Duke, who felt remorse, realizing his mistake, he ordered that from now on, people should not light fires on the date of Jia's death. And during the latter portion of the Tang Dynasty, this became a ritualized holiday in honor of the ancestors. So this would have been in the early 8th century. So that's a little bit about Qingming. And so today there are many of the who are over at the Dizang Hall and they're chanting a sutra there. They're chanting, I'm trying to remember, they're chanting Amitabha Sutra or Dizang.
I think that they're reciting the Diamond Sutra.
The Diamond Sutra. Oh, I like the Diamond Sutra. See you later. Yes,
Tinkanji.
yes. Okay. So Buddhism doesn't really have so much to do with this, um, but it's traditional. And we're going to today. I'm going to give a talk about lineage a little bit, and about in the Mahayana tradition. We have, the idea of our ancestors and lineage go all the way back to the Buddha. So during the time of the Buddha, after the Buddha passed away, Mahakassapa was the leader of the Sangha, and everybody got together for a big Buddhist council. And Ananda, who had been the attendant of the Buddha, he wasn't allowed to go to the first council because he had not attained the state of Arahat yet. And so he had to focus his attention and to make his last effort to become an arahat, which he did right before the council began. It was very important because Ananda had memorized all of the Buddha's teachings, all of the suttas. So at the council, he recited them. And then we don't have specific information about this, but probably divided up into different monks. They were responsible for memorizing and reciting on a daily basis the suttas that they were given. And then this was passed on to the next generation of monks and the next generation for 400 years. Buddhism and the teachings of Buddha were only oral, nothing written down. And at the fourth council, 400 years after the passing of the Buddha, they decided to write it down in the language of Pali on palm leaves first. And so we have what is called the Pali Canon, which contains these supposedly 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, quite a few. And they're divided into a number of different collections, very large collections of suttas organized by how long they are. We have the middle length, the long, the linked, and the numbered. These are the four main collections. And then when it became a Mahayana tradition in later time, in after the first century, Nagarjuna movement to expand Buddhism. This then became what was known as Mahayana, the greater vehicle, and different teachings were then revealed. And then there were a new set of great teachers that were revealed. These are the Bodhisattvas, the ones who dedicate their lives to the benefit of all beings. And each one represents a particular quality that we want to develop within ourselves. So Guan Yin, or Avalokitesvara, very important in Buddhist culture. Male in India, female mostly in China and in Japan, male in Tibet. Doesn't really matter about gender. Avalokitesvara is a bodhisattva of great compassion, radical compassion, to be able to listen to the sounds of suffering in the world and to be of benefit to all beings. And then Manjushri, who is the bodhisattva of wisdom, great wisdom. And Samanthabhadra, who is the bodhisattva of the 10 Great Vows, to preserve the bodhisattva path. And then Dizang, we have the Dizang Hall here, who is the bodhisattva, actually the only one of the four that is actually a monastic, who is dedicated to the great vow of being able to liberate all beings from their suffering in the hell realms. You get, their minds get caught in negativity. So today I'm going to talk about Avalokitesvara, Guan Yin, probably the most popular. Everyone likes to get some loving kindness and compassion. But this particular teaching I'm going to talk about is the vows that we make to Guan Yin, to the thousand-armed Guan Yin. These are the 10 great vows made to Avalokitesvara. So the story about the thousand arms is that the Avalokitesvara was sitting in meditation and had a thought, one of these discursive thoughts, thinking about oneself. Oh, am I doing any good? I wonder if all of this meditation and practice that I'm doing is helping. So pops out of the meditation and looks around and sees, oh my gosh, the world is a disaster. and becomes very discouraged, and then realizes, oh no, my samadhi, my concentration has collapsed. I've gotten trapped by the negativity in the world. I better do better. So he creates 10,000 arms to become more focused on being of benefit and having all the tools and all the skillful means to help 10,000 different types of people. So the 10 great vows made to Avalokitesvara. Here's a picture of where we have circled with 10,000 arms. And this comes in the form of what's called a dharani. A dharani is a little bit, is a kind of a large mantra. Most of the time we think about a mantra as a set of sounds that a person will pronounce, that a person will say. And this will help them to get not get caught in discursive thought, because you're having these sounds in the mind, like Om Mani Padme Hum, or Jedi Jedi Polo Sham Jedi Potisa Puha, or Gate Gate Parasam Gate, Bodhisattva, any of these kinds of things. These are small, and then people will count how many they do on their mala. But a dharani is much longer, maybe hundreds of syllables long. So these great vows come out of this dharani for the thousand-armed Bodhisattva. So here is the dharani means keeping the teachings in mind without forgetting, but not discursively, not about yourself, but with discernment, with wisdom and compassion for all beings. So this dharani means keeping the teachings in mind without forgetting, inexhaustible jewels. By means of this, we accumulate inexhaustible jewels of wisdom. So the word dharani means, refers back to the lengthy incantations or long mantras, usually lacking meaning, but with the promise of the sound having a special power. So here is the dabe, so the dharani that has to do with great compassion. And you can see it's pretty long. And this is chanted in Chinese Buddhist monasteries. But here we have the 10 great vows, and these are chanted usually before reading the 25th chapter of the Lotus Sutra, which is a chapter about the universal gateway of the Bodhisattva Guanyin, where they talk about why is Guanyin so important? Why is being able to listen to the sounds of suffering so important? And how is it that we can utilize our understanding of Guanyin to help us through difficult times? So here is a Guanyin that is very large. This is on, I think this one is on Poto Shan in off the coast of Shanghai. There's an island, and I don't know if there's anybody here who has been there, but I would like to go. Maybe next slide we'll get to go there. So you can see thousands of people come to this place to, I think this is maybe 108 meters high, if I remember correctly, because of course, the number 108 is an important number in Buddhism. So these 10 vows that we read the 25th chapter from the Kumarjiva translation of the Lotus Sutra, which is one of the most important descriptions of Guanyin. The text explains the meaning of the name of the Bodhisattva and states that Avalokitesvara or Guanyin is capable of manifesting him or herself in 33 different forms according to the various states of sentient beings in order to liberate them from their distress. And the chapter explains how Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva can be relied upon to liberate you from every kind of disaster and life-threatening situation. So here are the 10 vows. May I swiftly comprehend all of the Dharma teachings. Yes, this is be very helpful if we could just read the Dharma teachers and completely understand them right from the very beginning. No problem. May I soon attain the wisdom eye. The wisdom eye is a higher eye. You know, most of the time when we're looking around, we're just looking at things through our flesh eye. But in fact, there are in Buddhism 5 eyes, not physical eye, but ways of seeing. And so we have this eye here, a higher eye, the Kenyan. This is being able to see things from a higher position. This is being able to see things only understanding loving kindness toward all beings. And then we have the wisdom eye. Way in. This is being able to see things from a position of understanding how things fit together. And then the Dharma eye, which is even more profound, being able to see how we all exist within different realms and how these different realms all fit together. And then the Buddha eye that has the full picture of these 5 eyes. So here, may I soon attain the wisdom eye so I can have wisdom and compassion together. May I quickly liberate all sentient beings. They're chanting the Diamond Sutra today, and in the Diamond Sutra, the very beginning portion, the Buddha asks us, Subhuti, can we really liberate any living being at all? And Subhuti, his disciple, says, no, world-honored one. This is because sentient beings do not exist the way that we think that they do. So that when we talk about liberating all sentient beings, it's not that we're liberating the self. We're liberating ourselves from this concept of having this individual self. So there's no liberating of individual selves because the individual selves don't exist. This is very ironic and paradoxical and takes some years to understand. I'm still working on it. May I promptly acquire the skillful means? In other words, can I develop the right method to help people when they are having a difficult time? May I swiftly embark on the prajna boat? Well, the prajna is the boat of wisdom. So here the raft would be to take, using wisdom to be able to go from the shore of suffering to the shore of enlightenment, nirvana. May I soon cross over the sea of suffering. So once I get on the boat of wisdom, I want to be able to go from the one side to the other. But remember, in Mahayana, there's no distinction between these two sides. They're really, they coexist. And so that the mind is able to bridge this, and instead of going just over to nirvana and leaving the world of suffering behind, the Bodhisattva makes a commitment to return to be of benefit to people who are suffering. May I quickly attain the path of morality. concentration, and wisdom. These are the three disciplines that are found in the Eightfold Path. The discipline of morality includes a right speech, right action, right livelihood. The disciplines of concentration, right effort, right concentration, right mindfulness, right concentration. And then the stages of wisdom are a right view and right intention. So we have all of these that are incorporated here in this vow. May I soon ascend the mountain of nirvana. Yes. This is worth coming back to, but we can just see that being able to attain nirvana would be a great feat. May I swiftly reach the house of the unconditioned. This is nirvana again, where we're able to not get caught up in the worldly conditioned things. And may I soon be one with the Dharma nature body. So being able to feel at one with everything that's happening. So this is here it is in Chinese, but I think all the Chinese folks are over in the other area. Oh, Mac is here. You can read it. Yes. And here is a Guanyin statue as sitting and in the royal ease pose. This particular statue is twice life size, and it is the most wonderful of all of the Guanyins in the Western world. And you can get there to visit this in about 4.5 hours. How long does it take to drive to Kansas City? The Nelson Atkins Art Museum has one of the finest collections of Asian art in the West. Second only maybe to San Francisco. And this Guanyin is magnificent. It's actually, from my point of view, my second favorite. You're not supposed to have favorites, but yes. So, yes. So this one, so the homage to the great compassionate Avalokitesvara, Namo Dabe Guan Shi. And so we recite these great vows. They're not commandments, they're directions that we take up from our own heart. And each vow is a way to respond to the suffering of the world with clarity, steadiness, and loving kindness. So we breathe this vow gently. We think of the suffering that we have witnessed in ourselves and others, and we breathe out, silently offering compassion. Oh, here, may I swiftly comprehend the Dharma teachings. So here are all the Dharma teachings that are floating around. Yes. So if we understand these, this vow is not about accumulating knowledge. It means to awaken to the living truths in every situation. To know all the Dharma means to understand the suffering, its causes, the path to release oneself and in others. When someone speaks to us in pain, we stop, we don't react, we listen with our whole body and notice our own internal feelings, and we don't interrupt. We don't try to fix them right away or explain it. We just allow their suffering to be real in our presence. May I soon attain the wisdom I. Here the represented. the higher eye of wisdom. Well, I talked about the flesh eye, the higher eye, the wisdom eye, the Dharma eye, and the Buddha eye. So here we're trying to attain this wisdom eye. It sees emptiness and interdependence, understands suffering without attachment. This is the Avalokitesvara, higher eye. So these terms like emptiness and interdependence, this is particularly specific to our understanding of Buddhism on a deeper level. Not something that's easily understood right at first, because the mind, when we hear the word emptiness, we go to certain concepts in our mind that like nothingness or something along those lines, and that's not what emptiness means. Emptiness means in many different things, but in a certain sense, it means we've given up our ego self. We're no longer full of ourselves. And interdependence means that we see how it is that we're connected to all other beings, how all other beings are like our dear relatives. And there's no stranger. Everyone we know is going through their own life and having their own things that they're dealing with, their joys, their happiness, their loves, and also their pains and their losses, and that everyone goes through the same process. So we're not separated from each other. So may I soon attain this wisdom eye, to begin with the eyes that we already have. The flesh eye see appearances. Some beings develop the higher eye, observing suffering with loving kindness and compassion. The wisdom eye sees reality clearly, arising and passing of suffering. And the Dharma eye knows how to help others skillfully, and the Buddha eye is complete awakening. This is the Guanyin from is I would say my favorite Guanyin. If I can have a favorite, and you can get to this Guanyin probably in maybe an hour, because it's at the St. Louis Art Museum, and the St. Louis Art Museum is free, so you can go to this without having to pay a fee. I don't know if any of you have been to the San Diego Zoo. San Diego Zoo costs $90 now to get in, or at least the last time I was there, per person. At the booth, I said to the fellow, I said, "You come to St. Louis, I will get you into the St. Louis Zoo for free." And he says, "Oh, you must be a very important person." I said, "We're all important in St. Louis. All of our museums and zoos are free." I think the botanical gardens, I think you have to pay for that. So may I quickly liberate all sentient beings. I respond to the suffering without hesitation. May I act with compassion before self-interest arises. May I know that all sentient beings are in fact not to be reified and, into some kind of concrete thing that exists on their own side. There's no person view, self view, living being view, or lifespan view. That's what they're chanting at the Diamond Sutra. No sentient beings are in fact liberated. Any liberation must arise from each person's effort. Provide guidance, but do not take credit or responsibility. So listen fully. Let the other person's joys and sufferings be real in your presence. Don't interfere with their path. Liberation cannot be imposed. You don't want to take on anybody else's karma, be responsible for their decisions after, after they become adults. Offer clarity, calm, and steadiness. Have compassion, give space, not pressure. Trust their Buddha nature. Their original or intrinsic nature is there. We want to encourage it. So may I promptly acquire the skillful means. Here's the 1,000-armed, another depiction with each one of the arms and hands having tools. The skillful means that we're responding to the suffering in a way that's truly helpful, not in accordance with our own preferences, habits, or ideals. We're not trying to impose our values on others. Skillful means is not about doing more, it's about doing what the moment truly calls for. Sometimes it calls for comfort, sometimes it sets boundaries, sometimes just compassion is silent, sometimes compassion acts quickly. Skillful means knows when to do what. So we practice guidance is the heart of skillful means. When someone is suffering, we ask inwardly, what does this person need right now? Not what do I want to give? What will help them remember their own inner strength? What response reduces harm for everyone involved? If you pause long enough, compassion chooses wisely. The pause is skillful means. May I swiftly embark on the prajna boat. It's the Guan Yin with people in the boat going across the sea from samsara to nirvana. This is the boat of wisdom. It means attaining nirvana. All beings drift in the sea of birth and death. Compassion alone cannot cross. It doesn't provide the important comfort. It does provide the important comfort, but you need the prajna boat because the wisdom is necessary to help you cross over. So may I swiftly embark across this. The wisdom and compassion have to function together. Prajna or wisdom without the compassion becomes a cold attachment. Compassion with wisdom, without wisdom, means the person becomes sentimentally entangled. Avalokitesvara is the perfect union of the two. Crossing is both individual and collective. True crossing means bringing others across. This is the Bodhisattva vow embodied in Guan Yin's activity. May I soon cross over the sea of suffering. And leading the people across. So the sea of suffering is used in the Sarangama Sutra. The sea of suffering refers to our habit of clinging to identity, to emotions, to opinions, to the past and the future. It's not life itself that is suffering, it's the grasping mind that causes the suffering. So the sea of suffering is this referring to our habit of clinging to the identity, to our emotions, to our opinions, to the past and future. When the mind grasps, the waves arise. When the mind opens, the sea is calm. So may I soon cross over the sea of suffering. The Avalokitesvara does not cross the sea by running away from the world. The Guan Yin stands in the midst of the ways and listens deeply to suffering, and by listening, the compassion arises. Through compassion, the grasping releases. When the grasping releases, the sea remains, but we're no longer drawn to it. But the Guan Yin doesn't stay in the sea of suffering, nor on one shore or another, always helping people go back and forth. May I quickly attain the path of morality, concentration, and wisdom. I talked about the different stages of the Eightfold Path. Starts with right view and right intention, but here in the sequence, usually morality, concentration, and wisdom. So from the Eightfold Path, morality, concentration, wisdom are the threefold disciplines. I talked about this. And from wisdom, we're able to see the empty nature of all things. When right view and right intention go together, they form this wisdom that allows us to see things clearly. When you see things clearly, suffering ceases. May I soon ascend the mountain of nirvana. Well, there's the Nirvana mountain, got the hikers going up the trail. There's a lot of stories about this that I could get into a long discussion about Mount Sumeru and Kailash and the seven seas and the eight oceans, and we could get caught in a lot of descriptions. I'll leave that alone. The steadfast mountain of nirvana, in contrast with the changing stream of mortality. And this is you find this in the treatise on the great commentary on the Abhidhamma. For you to that. May I swiftly reach the house of the unconditioned, at the house here, the abode, where a person resides in a state of equanimity, where a person is in a state where they are able to see how all conditioned things, these things do not exist on their own. They're always conditioned on something else, and that means that they're impermanent, they're always changing. Grasping onto it, not possible. But we try anyway. Leads to a lot of difficulty because our emotions very strong. So if you abide in the house of the unconditioned, then you don't get caught up in that. And so here, the unconditioned house, the abode, Buddhism has this different meaning of Wu Wei that Taoism has. Maybe you've heard the word Wu Wei from the Taoist perspective, where it means doing by not doing. But in Buddhism, Wu Wei means something unconditioned. It means that it's no longer made up of something else. What is it that's no longer made up of something else? Well, nirvana. So it's not inactivity, but non-fabrication. It's not made up of something else. The mind is no longer motivated by grasping, fear, or self-making. This is the home of the Guan Yin's compassion. So when you do this, you realize that everything is made up of parts. Everything is related to causes and conditions. Space, at the time, space was considered unconditioned in Buddhism. Now, space in quantum physics may not be so unconditioned. We're not sure. There's debates about that. Although in the Huayan Jing, space actually is not unconditioned. So nirvana is the one unconditioned element. So may I soon be one with the Dharma nature body. This is the last one. I want to be able to dissolve the boundaries between myself and others. I want to be able to see myself connected, be a citizen of the world and beyond, different states of mind, so that I'm not limited by my desires. So these are the 10 vows that we make. The mind here recognizes that it is capable of attaining nirvana and at the same time able to be back in the world helping all other beings. This is another Guanyin. This may be the one in Henan, one of the largest Guanyin in southern China, on an island off of southern China. So at the end, there's this concluding verse. After making these vows, one should sincerely invoke my name and also wholeheartedly recite my name of the original teacher, Amitabha Tathagata. Amitabha is the Buddha from which Guanyin is interconnected. Then one should recite the Dharani mantra. We recite it in full 5 times within one night. It will eradicate the grave karmic offenses of countless billions of lifetimes of birth and death contained within one's body. There are YouTube videos where you can tune in and you can chant this 5 times with in Chinese. And since it doesn't have a translations per se, you have to do it in the Chinese language, I think. And then Avalokitesvara Buddha again addresses the Buddha by saying, World Honored One, if any humans or devas recite and uphold the verses of the great compassionate Dharani, then at the time of death, the Buddhas of the 10 directions will all extend their hands and welcome wherever they wish to be reborn, wherever Buddha lands. They seek in accordance with their vow, they will all be reborn there. So the concept of rebirth is brought in here, which is very different than the concept of reincarnation. But if I go beyond my 11 o'clock commitment here, who knows where I will be reborn. Again, he addressed the Buddha saying, World Honored One, if sentient beings who recite and uphold the great compassionate mantra should fall into the 3 evil paths, I vow that I will not attain the perfect enlightenment. If those who recite and uphold the great compassionate mantra are not reborn in some Buddha land, I vow that I will not attain perfect enlightenment. So the person makes this vow to be of benefit and return to be of help to people and not going on to perfect enlightenment until all beings are enlightened. If those who recite and uphold the great compassionate mantra do not obtain immeasurable samadhi and eloquence, I vow that I will not attain perfect enlightenment. If those who recite and uphold the great compassionate mantra in the present lifetime have all their rightful wishes thwarted and unfulfilled, then this could not be called the Dharani of the great compassionate mind. So this is the 10 vows here. So let's recite this all together if we can. Homage to the great compassionate Avalokitesvara. May I swiftly comprehend all Dharma teachings. May I soon attain the wisdom I. May I quickly liberate all sentient beings. May I humbly acquire skillful means. May I swiftly embark on the Prajna road. May I soon cross the sea of suffering. May I quickly attain the path of morality, concentration, and wisdom. May I soon ascend the mountain of Nirvana. May I swiftly reach the house of the unconditioned. May I soon be one with the Dharma nature of God.